Are you Team Boehly or are you Team Clearlake? Let's figure it out. All right, Chelsea fans, I'm here to give you the final video you need to see ahead of any breakthrough because I've read the articles, I've watched the videos, I've summed it all up really simply to break down the Team Clearlake side, the Team Boehly side, and let you figure out kind of where you stand because this is all a bit, I don't know, maybe above our heads unless you're a billionaire. I'm not. Nick and Dan aren't, to my knowledge. Editor Jake, honestly, who knows? He might be. But for the average Chelsea fan out there, we're trying to figure out what billionaire games are going on at Chelsea Football Club. And so I thought I would just collect everything and break it down for you. So there's a couple different ways we can do this. I think the biggest one is to start with just what has happened, right? So in recent days, Matt Law breaking that, well, Todd Boehly and Bedat Iqbali don't like each other, to put it about as simplest terms as possible. So we're going to do a deep dive with Matt Law tomorrow. So make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. A full pod dedicated to this topic is coming tomorrow on YouTube and audio. But before then, I want to give you the primer, right? This is the notes before the class, right? Before the lecture. So breaking it down, as I've been talking about here, is you've got two different teams. You've got Team Todd, Team Clearlake, which is really Bedat. So Team Clearlake, we'll start there. They own 61.5% of Chelsea, and they refuse to sell. They said, if anything, they want to increase their ownership share. All right. On the other side, Team Boehly, he is not going to sell. In fact, he wants to quickly resolve tensions by buying out Clearlake. He's confident that he can raise £2.5 billion for this takeover. Now, to remind you, Boehly is a bit of a capitalist himself, but Clearlake is a VC firm, right? A venture capital firm, private equity shop. They are there to invest money to get a return for their portfolio holders. So if anybody is more likely to sell, I would say it's on Clearlake's side, right? They could get an immediate return on what at this point I could say is a pretty risky gamble on their investment, right? Does Jose Feliciano and Bedat Iqbali feel like they can run this for 10 years and flip it for a bigger profit? That's what they're going to be looking at right now. While on Todd's side, I think he's proven with his other stakes in teams like the LA Dodgers that he's a sports guy. He loves being a part of championship winning teams. He loves being involved in that side of the business more than maybe just making money. I think Todd's got enough other revenue streams that this is more enjoyable and fun for him. So I think if push or shove were to come today, I think most fans are going to pick Boehly. So anyways, we're at a good old Western standoff. Neither one wants to sell. Both want to buy the other one out. Let's see how this shakes out. So how is it operating today? Well, Team Clearlake is currently in control of day-to-day operations. It seems pretty clear that they are the ones who have instilled Lawrence Stewart and Paul Winstanley, the co-sporting directors. This is a Bedat Iqbali play, right? Bedat is still involved in negotiations. He's still pretty heavily involved in the club's daily operations, especially in the football decisions. Team Boehly, on the other hand, he was heavily involved. If you remember, when this takeover happened, Todd was the one front and center. He was even front and center of the bidding process, right? This was always Todd Boehly's consortium of cash that he put together. So he has since stepped back from the sporting director role. If you remember, he was acting sporting director, bringing in Raheem Sterling, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, bringing in Kalidou Koulibaly, the Thomas Tuchel era, right? Well, his influence has diminished since then, right? And I think he wishes that were different, which we'll get into a little bit. But if you're unhappy with things are going over the last 12 to 18 months, it seems that is a Clearlake play. If you kind of like the excitement and the cash and the things that were happening in the beginning, that's a little bit more Todd. So you're going to have to put in the comments based on the operations and kind of the strategy, which side are you with? I will also say the commercial side of the club is lacking. All right. Next one up. This was an interesting divisive play was the Pochettino departure. So Team Clearlake, they supported the sporting director's decision to part ways with Maurizio Pochettino, seeing the need for a change. So much so that they wrote an 18-page report that Boehly agreed with. They sent it to Todd. He was less interested in it. And he even had that infamous dinner with Poch just days before they parted ways. So on Team Boehly's side, he attempted to protect Pochettino's position, advocating for patience and, which I think a lot of fans would agree with this, stability in the club. He wanted a little bit of time, patience, let him cook. Didn't happen that way. So that dinner was considered an undermining of Team Clearlake. So next up is the stadium. Team Clearlake. Stadium delays. They're pushing for external experts to manage the stadium redevelopment, though the tensions with Boehly have slowed progress, which we all know. We went and got the Stall property site, some others nearby. Nothing. Earl's Court, nothing. So on Team Boehly's side, when it comes to the stadium, he shares Clearlake's long-term vision for the stadium, but he disagrees who should manage the project, right? They added people to the board for this. They brought in people who had been in charge of this for Boehly and American teams. But yet, here we are, no progress. Fans are in limbo of what's going to happen, which is really important because you have essentially the fans on the ground, right? The CPO, the Chelsea pitch owners, nothing. Lack of communication, not a lot's happening. So then you talk about a cultural divide, right? Todd, Team Boehly, he prefers hiring experts and giving them autonomy, whereas Team Clearlake, they like to be involved in what's going on. Again, a bit interesting from their perspective because I don't think this is kind of their bread and butter, right? At least Boehly's got experience with the LA Dodgers, and they're pretty good. So if you want to compare the two right now, at least I'm leaning Team Todd, right? I want the LA Dodgers payroll, championships, things like that. I'm not really interested in the flippable assets of Clearlake. So you talk about a cultural divide, a difference of vision and how they want to operate. I don't like the hedge fund management style with years under contract. Doesn't get me excited as a fan or as a supporter. Another one, right, is the long-term vision. Team Clearlake says that they view Chelsea as a long-term investment, a decade plus. So again, we're talking about this. They're there to deploy their clients' assets, aka money, to get a return. Can they get an exit now, or are their portfolio holders or shareholders really going to wait 10 or more years for a risky investment return right now? We'll have to see. They also intend to take over the chairmanship in 2027. Matt Law also broke this, right? Halfway through, they can switch. Right now, it's Todd. They are ready to take over as much as they can, and that includes the chairmanship in 2027. On the other side of Team Boehly, when you talk about matching rights and veto powers, both parties have blocking rights if the other attempts to sell their stake or to a third party. We are in an absolute stalemate here. You need 3 signatures to get a decision done. If you don't have one, you don't make it happen. So Boehly had to begrudgingly sign Maurizio Pochettino's exit papers. This is the situation we're in. So with all of that, what are the situations, right? What are the outcomes? Well, there's 3. There's 3 outcomes that happens or can happen. So the first one, pretty obvious. Clearlake buys out Todd Boehly. Not only is it Boehly, but it's going to have to be his partners. So since Clearlake is refusing to sell and it has financial power, it could buy out Boehly and his partners, taking 100% control of Chelsea, taking it from 61.5% to 100%. Done and dusted. The other option, the second option, is that Boehly raises funds for a buyout. He could potentially gather enough capital to make Clearlake an offer it can't refuse, though Clearlake seem firm in retaining ownership. Look, Boehly raised the initial $1.5 billion or whatever it was to buy Chelsea. What's to say he can't go raise another? He seems to be a good salesman. He seems to have a vision. It just feels like Clearlake and Boehly aren't the right partners for this situation. And then the third one, which is the worst one, continued tensions. Without a buyout resolution, tensions may continue, and it would guaranteed to cause destabilization within Chelsea's operations. No doubt. We cannot continue. We are at a breaking point. One of them has to go. Who goes? I don't have a clue, but I can give you a little bit of an idea of what it would take. So if Todd Boehly were to try to buy out Clearlake Capital, here's what I think it'll take. Boehly would likely need to raise 2.5 billion pounds minimum to make a serious offer to Clearlake, which would provide a profitable return on its initial investment and appease their shareholders, right? This will go from a risky situation to, hey, we got out early, we got our money. That's a win for them on the balance sheet. Now, if Clearlake were to buy out Boehly's, remember this is a 38.5% stake, they would need to raise around 1.5 billion pounds. And this would be buying out Todd Boehly, Hansborg Wyss, and Walter. And this would cover their collective investment in the club and giving them a return. Again, bit of a guesstimating game here. Not really sure how it's going to shake down, but this is the situation. This is the joy of Chelsea Football Club. So break it back down for you to make it real simple. Todd Boehly and Boehly Boehly consider this relationship not functioning, no longer tenable, cannot go forward. So the problem is, what do we do? Todd wants to run it like he runs a Dodgers championship side, make it exciting, build a new stadium. Clearlake, hey, this is a 10, 12, 15-year investment. We're good. We're going to build a stable of players. We're going to run this vision from the co-sporting directors. This is a long-term play. We're in no hurry here. And then at the end of the day, it's going to come down to money. Is it going to take 1.5 billion pounds or 2.5 billion pounds? One side's going to have to come up with the cash, and the other side's going to have to accept. One side is going to leave with the reputation intact, and I think the other one won't. And I think that's where the billionaire egos is going to make it really, really tricky. Neither wants to get out of there looking like they lost. So, hey, we're going to see what Matt Law has to say tomorrow. I am super excited. I read the articles. Let me know if I missed anything. Most importantly, I'm genuinely interested. Are you Team Boehly? Are you Team Clearlake? Are you happy with the last 12-ish months and the sporting director's vision and plan? Or did you like it when Boehly was looking to make some moves and shake things up and sign key players right at the beginning? So let me know in the comments. I'm fascinated to see how this shakes out. At the end of the day, all we want is Chelsea Football Club to have the best possible chance to win trophies. We're not that hard to appease, are we, fans? Right? As supporters, we care about one thing and one thing only. The players play for the badge. You win championships. It's not too much to ask for, right? I know that's two things, but you got to tie them together, right? Anyways, we'll be back. Full debrief with Matt Law tomorrow. So until next time, Chelsea fans, you know what to do. Keep the blue flag flying high.